Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The time is 7:04 p.m. I'm calling the meeting to order of ANC 2A's regularly scheduled March ANC 2A meeting. We will go ahead and begin with the introduction of commissioners starting in numerical order. I am now the first one in order. So my name is Tripti Patel, she, her pronouns. I represent Single Member District 2A03, and I am the chairperson of ANC 2A.
My name is Ed Comer. I represent Single District 2A04, and that's the Watergate Kennedy Center in the western portion of Pocky Bottom.
My name is John Dolan. I represent ANC 2A06. It is a densely packed 1 to 2 block by 4 block area north of Pennsylvania Avenue in the West End.
Hey everyone, my name is Jim Malik. I represent Single Member District 2A08, which includes Washington Circle, the Avenue, the President, West End Place, and a group of lovely row houses.
Roll call being done, 4 out of 6 commissioners being present. Quorum has been established. We can go ahead and move on. Next item up on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. I'm going to move it. I'm calling for a second of record.
I'll second.
Thank you. I am going to ask for unanimous consent on this by show of hands or yelling yes.
Yes.
Okay, that agenda is adopted. Next item up on the agenda is the approval of ANC's February 2026 regular meeting minutes. Commissioner Comer, has there been any changes or edits made since you last presented it to the public and the commission?
No, there have been no changes made.
Okay.
Commissioner Dolan said they were fine. That's
Okay.
all I heard from.
Seeing that there are no changes or edits, Commissioner Comer, are you moving the minutes?
Yes.
Chair Patel is going to second. I'm going to call for unanimous consent on this. So show of hands or yes.
Yes.
Okay. Meeting minutes are approved. Next item up is administrative matters. This is voting on the change of the schedule for our regularly scheduled meetings. Through private correspondence with colleagues, as well as in our last ANC meeting, a lot of you, as colleagues, have echoed in wishing to start ANC meetings earlier. I have no problem with that, but we must by law vote to approve that, since the public was notified at the beginning of the year that our meetings start at 7 p.m. versus 6 p.m. So this change, if it were to pass, would be effective for our next meeting.
What is the change being proposed? Are you saying 6 p.m. or 6:30?
I heard 6 p.m., but I am amenable to 6:30. I've heard 6:30. Unless Commissioner Dolan, you recognize.
Help me with the logistics here. When would it be appropriate to suggest we move to table this, as we have a new commissioner starting in hopefully a couple of days, and he should have some input as to what the schedule should be?
Okay, Commissioner Dolan has put forward a motion to table. Is there a second to his motion? Commissioner Malik, you're recognized.
Second the motion.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do this by roll call vote. If you want to go ahead and table this, I'll go ahead and start by division of the House. Chair Patel is indifferent. I could table or vote either way. So I am going to motion to table.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, that is a yes. Apologies.
Commissioner Comer is a yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this matter is going to go ahead and be tabled to the next meeting. Moving on, next.
May I suggest, maybe it's too late, it would be appropriate to hear from members of the public on this matter. Could we still do that?
We've motioned to table it, so.
Okay.
But that is a good point, but we've tabled it, so.
I would like to encourage members of the public to give us their suggestions about what works best.
Um, under the community forum, under item F, they can chime in and say something there. We could record their feedback in that point. But good uh good point to bring up. Moving on to the next agenda item, which is the community forum. If you are here from MPD, please raise your hand. If you're a representative from MPD, please raise your hand and we'll go ahead and promote you. Commissioner Malik, you're recognized.
It appears that no one from MPD is here. This is a number of meetings in a row that we have not had an MPD representative.
I'm
Oh, is
sorry.
there? We
They
do
were,
have someone. All right,
yeah,
fantastic.
I saw they did not raise their hand, but I saw them. They have been promoted.
Lieutenant
Thank
Taylor,
you.
if you
Thank you. I'm used to using Microsoft Teams. I'm just trying to navigate these Zoom controls. There you go. Let me attempt to share my video with you as well. Hey, good evening, everyone.
welcome, Lieutenant Taylor.
Thank you.
So you can go ahead and begin. And obviously this is the first time before ANC 2A, so feel free to introduce yourself and you know uh, let us know how we can reach you.
Okay. Yes, my name is Lieutenant Kenneth Taylor. I've been on the Metropolitan Police Department for approximately 29 years now. I've been to a lot of units, and I just recently was transferred to the second district from the first district due to the promotion. And predecessor was promoted to captain, and he's been reassigned to our school division. So I was previously in the first district. My PSA in the first district was, let's see, I had the Navy Yard area at first. I also live in the Navy Yard. It's where I'm broadcasting from home right now. I work the day shift. Uh, my last assignment at the first district was I had the first district substation in the capital area. So I'm happy to. I've always wanted to be at the second district, experience that that uh, those communities that are in the second district, and I'm happy to be here, available to assist and serve in any way I can. I will drop my contact information in the chat before the end of the meeting, and I have some PSA 207 and also general DC citywide stats for you if that's the normal procedure for what we share in these meetings. And I'd also be able to field any questions that anyone may have.
Colleagues, any questions or concerns for the lieutenant? Oh, Commissioner Malik, you're recognized.
Thank you, Lieutenant, for being here. Has MPD been having discussions yet regarding collaboration with federal agencies with regard to the apparently very large UFC fight that the president is planning to have on the White House grounds? I've been starting to get questions about this. The president has put out there 100,000 people. I don't know where he's going to fit that many people on the South Lawn. But is there anything that we should know about that? Is MPD working on that? When could we expect to have more details about what that might look like?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. There has been a lot of buzz circulating around this particular event coming up, and right now I believe they're still in the planning stages of it. It has not reached the district level yet, and the department has not put anything out to the districts. As you all know, our special all of the NSC event, the national security special events for that are primarily ran by the Secret Service due to the involvement of the POTUS. So once those plans have been finalized, they will begin to send that out to the districts for our awareness and our deployment, and I'm quite sure the public as well. But at this time, it's still in the planning phase, and so there's nothing for them to put out in the mass public just yet. The next big event that the city is holding is going to be the rock and roll half marathon this weekend on Saturday. So right now we're planning for that, and we'll be coordinating with U.S. Park Police in regards to the route, the street closures, what have you. But as far as the UFC fight on the White House lawn goes, we don't have anything to put out just yet. So we will put something out as soon as we have that information.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments from colleagues before I turn to members of the public? If you're a member of the public and you have a question or comment for MPD, please raise your hand and we'll go ahead and promote you to a panelist. Seeing no questions or comments from members of the public for MPD, I want to say thank you to you, Lieutenant Taylor, for appearing before ANC 2A, and welcome. This is the first time we are meeting we're meeting you. Hopefully you will prove that to me that you're a real person and not a bobbling head on Zoom. That's my running joke when I only see people virtually. So thank you once again and have a good night.
Absolutely. And if just let me know if you want me to bore you guys with the dry stats. I have them
Oh,
right here.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. I can go through those. Let's see. What I like to do usually is begin uh, with the PSA 207 stats uh, to and then move on to the citywide stats just to kind of give you a perspective on what the comparison is citywide, and let you know where we are with just our small corner of the city versus the entire city as a whole. Uh, okay, so I usually give the year to date stats for everyone. So for year to date in PSA 207, we have had uh, one homicide, um, and that does appear to still be open as far as I'm aware. Um, for sex abuse cases, we had zero for year to date. For assaults with a dangerous weapon, we have. Sorry, I printed this information out very small, so bear with me, and I don't have my readers with me. So for ADWs, we have uh, one assault with a dangerous weapon year to date. For robberies in 207, we have zero. I'm sorry, bear with me. I'm sorry, I was reading in the wrong column. For the last 30 days in robberies, we have zero. But for year-to-date in robberies, we have 5 as compared to 2 robberies this time last year. Um, for property crimes, for burglaries, we have 1 so far this year. For motor vehicle thefts, which is still continuing to be an issue. We currently are sitting at 7 compared to 5 this time last year. For theft from autos, which has always been a problem, and as you all know, that 207 has a vast nightlife area. We currently have 14 theft from autos that we've been investigating, and for just general thefts, we are uh, currently sitting at 61. That's compared to 100 and 114 from last year. So that has a significant decrease. When I mentioned the motor vehicle thefts, we have noticed just in the second district as a whole, we've noticed the Lexus SUVs that are being stolen, and it appears that this has been a coordinated theft ring um, that uses a device uh, to mimic the key fob for the vehicles. So it makes stealing these type of vehicles very fast. The method is very fast and very silent. So we have our detectives working on solving the theft ring that's currently operating in the city. We've also had the same issue with the I believe Jeep Wranglers, and some of those have been recovered, and it was proven that those were being prepared for shipment out of the country. Uh, so that's one of the trends that we're seeing now.
All right, thank you so much.
But
Commissioner Dolan, did you have a comment?
Yeah, A, thank you for your service. And B, the kind of stuff that you just read, is it possible to prepare that and disseminate it in advance of our meetings so that you can spend more time on the answering questions that, for example, Commissioner Malik asked, which are much more interesting than you reciting numbers?
right. That's an excellent suggestion, and I do dread just putting everybody to sleep, just reading numbers off of a page. But yeah, that can be done in the next meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just unfortunately, Commissioner Dolan, this is usually something that MPD does for every meeting. They do read these stats out. We are in a virtual setting, so that's why I have to let him do this. We can get the information ahead of time, but we do have members of the public who sometimes don't notice or know where to find it on our website. So as a courtesy, even though for some of us it may be dry and boring, we gotta let them say it. Commissioner Comer, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, but I am trying to keep us on time. Go ahead.
I'd like to welcome Lieutenant Taylor as well. And I agree with the suggestion that if you could provide the statistics ahead of time, post them on the website and maybe in the chat so they would be available to people, that would be very helpful. Thank you. And
Absolutely.
you have a great view out of your window. I can see the river behind. So thank you very much. Looking
Thanks.
forward to working with you.
Thank you. Other than the juveniles, every so often we it's still nice in the Navy Yard.
Yeah, yeah, I read about that.
Yeah. And I will again drop my name and contact information in the chat. And if anyone does prefer looking up stats on their own or for any specific areas of concern, they can always go to DC crime cards. Very straightforward to toggle and break down the areas and the particular crimes uh, that you're trying to find the statistics on, and that's DC crime cards, and it's available to the public. All right. Well,
Thank you
thank you
again,
for having
Lieutenant.
me, and I will see you all at the next meeting.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Lieutenant Taylor. Next item up on the agenda is a report from the Office of Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto. If you are here from the Councilwoman's team, please raise your hand and we'll promote you. Thank you.
Can everybody see and hear me okay? Okay, great. I will try to talk quickly. So, as we know, basic DPW services are still top of mind for a lot of residents. The DPW oversight hearing was a few weeks ago. Councilmember Pinto asked questions about staff issues, trash and recycling collection, lessons from the January snowstorm, and parking enforcement. If you have any Christmas trees left over in your SMD, please send us that address. But we also recommend that people bring them as close to city trash collection points as possible, just to get rid of them quickly. Leaf collection has also ended. Anything lingering has to be bagged up, and a 311 for yard waste collection should be submitted. Street sweeping ticketing also started yesterday, so beware of those signs and let us know if sweeping is missed. The past few rounds of winter storms have left a lot of potholes and damaged flex posts. Keep sending those to us or submit them to 311. We're also still in prime water main break season. I know it keeps pretending to be spring, but as with the temper fluctuating, please continue to report any suspicious water kind of gurgling in the streets to us and to DC Water. Some updates on the Potomac River spill. The mayor announced last week that the ban on recreational activities on the Potomac has been lifted. Testing of E. coli levels have been safe in the recreation range for a few weeks now, with the last overflow into the river happening back on February 8th. Swimming is still prohibited, so please don't do that. The DC water crews have been doing remediation work on the brush and soil at the spill site, and a full repair of the damaged section was completed this week. Drinking water was safe throughout the crisis since the overflow occurred downstream from the Washington Aqueduct intake. Councilmember Pinto has urged DOE to conduct more frequent testing of the water, and they've gone from weekly to daily testing. This, of course, is all unrelated to the Potomac River Tunnel project that is still going on and will be completed around 2030. This aims to capture about 90% of the regular combined sewer offlows that the regularly occurring storms. Since about 1/3 of our sewer system is combined, Councilmember Pinto remains committed to making sure that the Potomac and Anacostia rivers are swimmable in the near future. Budget and oversight update. The council finished agency oversight hearings and is preparing to receive the mayor's FY27 budget proposal in April, ahead of our usual budget hearings. A few weeks ago, we held MPD's 12-hour hearing with over 100 public witnesses. We know there are still many questions and concerns about MPD's coordination with immigration enforcement. We know how harmful these actions have been to the community and continue to be across the country and in DC. There have been 3 federal officer involved shootings in DC in the last 6 months, and Councilmember Pinto and her colleagues continue to explore the best ways to protect local residents. A few weeks ago, the council unanimously passed 2 bills, including legislation Councilmember Pinto introduced that would do a couple of things. It would require that when an MPD officer is on the scene of a federal officer involved use of force, that footage from the MPD officer's body cam be made public within 5 days with the consent of the victim or victim's family if someone was harmed. Secondly, it would require the names of directly involved federal law enforcement officers to be included in MPD's database after a deadly or serious use of force incident. The second bill was from Councilmember Robert White. It involves the collection of information about federal officers. Councilmember Pinto introduced another permanent bill that would require a record of all federal agents in attendance at daily MPD roll call to provide transparency with MPD joint patrols with federal agencies. Today, the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee held hearings on 4 bills. The first ensures incarcerated individuals are able to participate virtually in testifying before the council. The second reforms child support to provide more money to DC families. The third and fourth deal with the Office of Unified Communication, our 911 and 311 call center, and seek to modernize telecom taxes and fees to improve accuracy at the call center. Some updates on the tax situation. As you may have heard, Congress voted along party lines to pass a disapproval resolution of the council's decision to decouple from federal tax code. The fall, the council voted to decouple DC's tax code from the federal code to not take part in some of President Trump's proposed cuts. In the One Big Beautiful Bill, states are able to decide how to apply federal tax changes locally, and the council preferred to keep in place locally decided upon tax deductions. DC's Attorney General released an opinion that this disapproval was not passed within the required 60-day time frame. It is therefore invalid. The CFO then released a letter saying he agrees with that interpretation. So the moral of this story is that residents should proceed with filing their taxes. Recoupling will occur in the next tax year, but we don't need to worry about that for a while. Last but not least, if you're looking for a way to give back to your community this Earth Day, Councilmember Pinto is hosting a community cleanup with Shaw Main Street and district cleanups. It will be on Saturday, April 11th at 10 a.m. outside the Kennedy Rec Center. I will post those details in the chat. And as I believe the lieutenant mentioned, Saturday is the Rock and Roll Half Marathon. Please be aware of parking restrictions, street closures. I know it can be a little disruptive every year. And with that, if anyone has any questions.
I do have a question for you, Hannah, but before I go, colleagues, do you have any questions for Hannah from Councilwoman Pinto's office before I ask mine? Okay, seeing no questions or comments from colleagues. Hannah, my question for you is, I'm glad to hear that the Councilwoman is going to introduce the temporary emergency legislation regarding the body camera footage and the naming of agents. Has she set a hearing date for that yet?
So those bills were passed on an emergency basis at the last meeting.
That's correct. You said she was going to make them permanent. Am I correct? Did you not say that?
I don't believe so, no.
So is the
permanent
Councilwoman?
the permanent bill is specifically about the agents in attendance at roll call.
Okay.
It's separate from the body camera.
Okay. Okay. So when is that hearing date?
I do not know for sure, but I can check and try to get back to you.
Okay. Thank you. I would like to know that response when you find out. Seeing no further questions or comments from colleagues, if you are a member of the public and you have a question or comment for Hannah from the Councilwoman's office, go ahead and promote you to a panelist. Seeing no further questions or comments from members of the public, you are welcome to have your night back, Hannah. Thank you so much.
Great. Always glad to see y'all.
Okay. Bye-bye. Next item up on the agenda is a report from ANC 2A's appointees to the Aston Community Advisory Team. If you are here, please raise your hand and we'll go ahead and promote you to panelist. Hi, Chris. You've been promoted. You just have to take yourself off mute.
Hey there. I'm gonna take myself off video too. I mean, put myself on video. Hey there, everybody. Good evening. So this is a very brief report because it was a very brief meeting. These meetings now for the CAT have gone to meeting quarterly because the Aston has been running fairly smoothly. So we get a quarterly report, and the one that was distributed at the meeting was made available. It was made available at the meeting, and it covers the period of October 1st, 2025 to December 2025. But it was compiled on the 15th of January. So you have three metrics. One is there are three metrics with subcategories, and the first metric consists of pest control violations, special trash notices, new and unresolved facilities concerns, and the status of construction or major repairs. So there were no violations or notices or unresolved facilities concerns during that period. That is the facilities data. The next metric is program data. So there are neighborhood concerns and resolutions. There were not anything that was reported. New and unresolved facilities concerns, there weren't any. Number of program-related 311 calls, 0. Number of program-related non-medical 911 calls was 4. And right now, the staffing ratio, case management to client ratio is 1 to 23 people. And then during that period, the third metric is the program outcomes, and the metrics in there are the average number of monthly participants has been 88, and the overall number of unique participants was 110. And the average participant length of stay has been 168 days. And with our exits during that period, there are 21 folks into permanent housing and 5 into non-permanent housing exits. And that was the information that I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your update. I see two colleagues have raised their hands on the topic. Commissioner Dolan, you're recognized first, and then after that, Commissioner Comer.
Okay. I also attended the meeting, so I had other focus on things people should be aware of. The average participant stay has in the last year gone from 67 days to 100 days to 123 days to 147 days to 160 something days. So it did only open in the last year and a half, but people are spending on average half a year there. Challenges being that with voucher money getting tougher, that's likely to be a challenge. And then the exits to permanent housing out of a population that averages about 100 are for the 4 quarters before running in the 30s, 38. So it looks like the population is being turned over about 1/3 of the population a year. So that I think puts a different perspective on the time it takes to move people through to more permanent housing.
Commissioner Comer, you're recognized.
Yeah, I was going to ask, thank you. Chris, if you could email that report to me, I'd like to have it as I prepare the minutes. Or if you
Sure. Yeah, I can. And actually, it's available. The report is available on the DHS website, but I'll send you a copy of it too, if you want.
Yeah, I would appreciate it. And in the future, I think as we said with the police, if those things are available and you could, send them to everybody ahead of time, um, or send them to our executive director, that would be helpful for us um, in asking questions or anything else. I appreciate it.
Great. Yeah,
Thanks.
I'll remember that.
You're a member of the public, and if you have a question or comment for Chris Labus, please raise your hand and we'll promote you to panelist. Well, Chris, looks like you got off easy. No one raised their hand from the public. Okay, and as always, thank you and
Oh,
very
yeah.
appreciative of your service for the ASENCAT. I can't believe we're already a year and a half into
I
this.
know. I was thinking the same
But
thing.
we have muddled through, and the Aston, as I always knew it would be a resounding success. So
Yeah,
thank you
I
so much.
agree. I agree. Thank you.
All right, take care. Moving on, the next item up on our agenda is a report from the mayor's office. If you are here from the mayor's office, please raise your hand and we'll go ahead and promote you to a panelist. Hi, Jamaica, you've been promoted. You just need to take yourself off mute.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name's Jamaica Williams, and I serve as the Ward 2 liaison with the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. And I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to provide a few brief updates. First, the Office of Chief Financial Officer has reminded DC taxpayers that local tax returns are due on April 15th. Second, we're entering a challenging budget season, and I know many residents have concerns and questions about priorities and proposed changes. The mayor's the mayor's proposed budget is expected to be released in April, in the beginning of April. In addition, in April or May, a director from the mayor's office will attend an ANC meeting to present and walk through the mayor's budget and help answer any questions. DPW, they're starting their spring services, including street sweeping, street and alley cleaning. So please be mindful that parking restrictions are in effect it was from March 3rd through October 31st, and vehicles may be subject to ticketing and towing when signs are posted. The District Department of Health has lifted the recreation advisory for the Potomac River and in the Washington, D.C. area, because the Potomac also goes to Maryland. So, but just in the Washington, D.C. area, consistent water quality testings show bacterial levels are now within safe ranges for recreation. Throughout this incident, Washington, D.C.'s drinking water, has not been affected. DC will welcome the Freedom 250 Grand Prix on October 21st through October 23rd. The race route map has been released, and I'll share that in the chat. Events like this bring visitors to our city and support local businesses. March is Women History Month, and the mayor's office is holding several events throughout the month, including the Washington Women of Excellence Awards. These events continue throughout March 30th. For Ward 2 residents, roll-off day would take place Saturday, March 28th, from 10 to 2 p.m. at Francis Field and Dog Park. This is an opportunity to dispose of bulk trash, furniture, mattresses, clothes, household items, and electronics. And looking ahead, Mokers will host a Ward 2 Spring Community Cleanup on Saturday, April 25th, 2026 at Garrison Elementary School. We're looking for volunteers as well as local businesses and organizations that would like to be involved and sponsor an event or maybe table at the event. Volunteers will help with neighborhood cleanup and community beautification, followed by a family fun day and community block party. This is also a strong opportunity for organizations, agencies, or businesses to connect with Ward 2 residents and attract new customers. If you would like to get involved, please email me and I will share the links to the different events that I mentioned in the chat along with my email. As always, if you have any neighborhood issues such as missed trash or recycle collection, potholes, graffiti, illegal dumping, or other concerns, please email me with the 311 ticket number or send the address and a photo, and I will escalate it to the appropriate agency and help come to a resolution. Thank you again, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I see a colleague has his hand raised. He probably has a question for you, Commissioner Dolan.
Yeah, Shamika, just to clarify, you said the Grand Prix is going to be in October. Is that the same as the F1
No,
racing or is it
August. The
August? Okay, sorry, I heard badly. Okay, thank you.
no
Clarified.
problem.
Any questions or comments from colleagues before I ask my question and turn to members of the public? Jamaica, I do have one question for you.
Okay.
Is the mayor still going to be dropping her budget on April 1st or April 2nd?
I know that the goal is for it to be released in the beginning of April. I don't have the exact date, but right now it'll be released in the beginning of April, so we'll be on time.
Okay, that was my question for you. If you're a member of the public and you have a question or comment for the mayor's team, please raise your hand and we'll go ahead and promote you. Okay, seeing no questions or comments from members of the public. As always, thank you, Jamaica, for all your work on behalf of Ward 2 residents. We will see you next month.
Thank you. Everybody have a good evening.
You too. Okay. Moving on to the next item under this part of the agenda, we have a report from Executive Director Ben Sislin on the Foggy Bottom West End Main Street. If anybody is here from the Foggy Bottom West End Main Street, please raise your hand and we'll promote you to panelist. Okay, seeing no one here from the West End Foggy Bottom Main Street, they did request to be on our agenda, so we will go ahead and just have them come back next month. I will go ahead and keep things moving. Moving on to the next agenda item, we have a presentation from Brandon Bush of Grow Democracy. This is about around ranked choice voting. They did come to our ANC meeting in January. They agreed to come back to make sure that members of the public have been informed about how ranked choice voting works, and Brandon Bush is here. Thank you. As we have informed you, we try to keep a very tight meeting, so hopefully you can explain everything in 10 minutes.
I see y'all got a real nice instruction. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna try and keep this real nice and succinct. I'm sending a request for sharing my screen if that is okay. But yeah, just to get us kind of started, my name is Brandon Bush Thompson. I'm the engagement coordinator for Grow Democracy DC Civic Education Fund, and I am here to talk to y'all about ranked choice voting. I know that a lot of people have a lot of questions. I know that there are people with concerns. What I would like for this space to be is for you to kind of open yourself up to voicing or having those concerns so that way you can be concerned, angry, upset, however it is that you feel about ranked choice voting here in this space, and us be comfortable with that and address those things rather than getting to the voting booth and you feeling just as concerned, angry, upset, confused there. So, the goal of this presentation today is for me to be able to share some information with y'all so that way y'all know exactly what's going on with ranked choice voting. And I'm going to go ahead and get started as soon as I possibly can. Hold on. All righty. If it'll pull up right here. All right, here we go. Can everybody see? All righty. So just to give a little bit of a background on how we got here in January of 2022, January 2024, Initiative 83 was put to DC voters in regards to collecting 40,000 signatures from the Make All Votes Count campaign. They were able to collect those signatures and put the question of ranked choice voting in semi-open primaries to the voters. Once they collected those signatures and that was verified, it was able to be on the ballot for the November 2024 elections. And Like so, DC voters voted overwhelmingly yes, with 73% of the vote, making ranked choice voting and semi-open primaries something that was going to come to DC. So, last summer, DC Council funded ranked choice voting implementation, and we are now working on also implementing semi-open primaries as well. But for this upcoming June, we will be using ranked choice voting for the first time here in DC. So lots of exciting, very new things coming our way. Just to tell you a little bit more about my organization, we are the leading organization dedicated to making sure that we are talking with, teaching people about ranked choice voting. Rank the District is our project and initiative that is going to be pushing us to be focusing on seniors, hard to reach communities, youth, and people with disabilities through different community events, coming to meetings such as this. And making sure that we are doing things to really engage DC voters in that way. We're also trying to make sure that we are talking with and training candidates so they understand how to run in a ranked choice election. We're also working to support the Board of Elections so that they understand how to also teach ranked choice education to folks as well as run a smooth ranked choice election, period. And then also doing what we can to collaborate with community organizations and making sure that our materials are accessible to everyone who needs them and that we have culturally relevant programming. So to go ahead and jump right on in, we are going to start with the basics. This is actually as easy as one, two, three, and we can really break it down to two if you really want to talk about it. To mark your ballot, first, you are going to rank your favorite candidate in that first column. As you can see over here in my trusty dusty mock ballot with DC sports teams, right here you can see that this person's ballot has the Mystics as their first choice. Okay? That's that on that. Next, you're going to rank your backup choices, and you get up to 5 choices in total. So you can rank your second, third, fourth, or fifth. You do not have to rank more than one if you do not want to, but we do encourage you to rank as many candidates as you do support. So we'll always encourage that. Only rank the people that you support. Remember also, your vote will stay with your first choice unless they come in last place or get the least amount of support in that particular race or tabulation round. And if that is the case, then your vote will simply move to your second choice, and so on and so forth. And this will continue to repeat until one candidate wins with over 50% of the vote. So it will just continue to repeat itself throughout different rounds of tabulation. Um, just to kind of go over some things not to do because it is going to be really, really important that y'all mark your ballots very, very correctly this upcoming election. Please do not choose more than one candidate in the same column. The reader will not be able to tell who you are voting for if you vote for multiple people in the first column. We have to emphasize that marking people in multiple spaces per column or per row doesn't give them any more votes. It just kind of confuses the system and it could mess with how your vote is tabulated. So please do not do that. We also don't want you ranking a candidate more than once. Again, a ranking does not necessarily mean that you are casting a vote for each and every one of those rankings. Again, we want to make sure we understand and push that your vote will stay with your first choice unless that candidate it comes in last place or gets the least amount of support in that race or in that particular tabulation round. So don't think that you marking a candidate as first, second, third, fourth, and fifth is going to give them any more points or advantage over any other candidates that are in the race because that is not true. Also, so you are allowed to skip, but only one time. We encourage you to rank in order though. We don't, just as you see here on this ballot right here, you might rank somebody as your first choice in the first column, and then if you don't rank somebody in that second column, it'll simply count whoever you ranked in that third column as your second choice, or whoever you ranked as third in your line of choices, they will simply move to being your second choice. If you skip twice, then anything after that first column, or however you ranked or skipped or whoever, anything after those two skips will not be counted. So we encourage you not to skip, just fill out the ballot correctly. It's that simple, period. So you have to remember different column, different row. This is the right way to do it right here on my right. Please make sure that you are filling out this ballot correctly. You doing that is very, very important to making sure that your vote counts just as much as your voice counts in this election. And our voices do count, especially for this election. We want to make sure that you are prepared and comfortable. So, that was real quick. We got about, a minute and 30 seconds left. If anybody has any questions, please, please, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Brandon. And there is a question for you from Commissioner Dolan. Commissioner Dolan, you recognize?
A, huge fan of the concept. Good for you guys. B, is there some kind of video that's going out to the world that explains this more leisurely if somebody wants to pause and talk it over and that? And let me ask the whole question, then you can answer whichever one you want. And then C, you mentioned the reader might have difficulty interpreting the ballot. Are these hand read? Are these machine read? Are you going to need more resources? Are you going to need more time? What's going to be the possible differences in how the election tally is processed as a result of this?
So to answer your first question, we have a little video on our Instagram at Rank the District. Go ahead, check that out. We got stuff right there for you. Check that out. It's one of our reels. It's actually pretty popular. In regards to tabulation and what is needed, I'm going to be very, very honest with you on that. Some of that is a Board of Elections question because they are going to be specifically running and making sure that the tabulation is ready to go, and everybody's votes are counted in again, a very transparent way. However, what I do want to communicate with everyone is that because of a lack of funding, the readers that will be available for in-person voters is not, it'll be able to alert you if you forget to vote in like a particular race, or if you don't mark for a particular race or contest. However, it will not notify you if you mark your ballot incorrectly. And it's going to be on us to make sure that we are overly educated about how to rank our votes in the correct way, so that if you do notice a mistake when you're going over it, once it's printed out and you're about to hand it to an election administrator, you can let them know, like, hey, I messed up right here. Can you help me out with this? And you take it to an election administrator, and they will help you with potentially getting what they call a spoiled ballot. So that way you can go back and potentially fill it in the correct way, in the way that you intend. So that I just want to make sure that everybody knows exactly what to do, so that way there are no questions as to what needs to happen or anything like that. If I need to come back, I'm 100% ready and open for that. Y'all see me, I'm here, I'm around. So yes, I hope that answered your question.
And Commissioner Comer, I'm going to recognize you. I just want to do a point of information for Commissioner Dolan. Board of Elections is going to be appearing next month at ANC 2A to present ranked choice voting and the questions that you would have from like a BOE point of view. So we are trying to make sure we do our due diligence in making sure that as far as ANC 2A constituents and residents are concerned, we have done our best to make sure that they have access to the information. So you can pause on that question, save it for next month. Commissioner Comer, please go ahead.
Yeah, my question is relates to that. There are about 15 people on watching this meeting right now, in addition to those of us participating, and many of them are participants. That's not a large proportion of our 2,000 constituents in the ANC. And I'm wondering, will there be materials sent out by mail or other ways that will reach many more people? I think this is an important issue that people really
Yeah.
need to be educated. But my constituents are not they're not on the ANC meeting, unfortunately, and they're not likely to be on Instagram. So how are you trying to reach, the great number of constituent people out there who need to know this stuff?
Yeah, I'm actually very glad that you asked that. One thing that is happening currently, the Board of Elections is sending out materials via mail for people to be able to review materials that will teach them or give them information about ranked choice voting. That is something that I do know is happening. One thing that we're doing on our end, coming up very, very soon, especially in April, is we finna do some door-to-door knocking, baby. And one thing that we really need are volunteers. So if y'all got people who y'all know, I just dropped my stuff in my information in this little chat right here. If we can get that spread to everybody, please go to our website. Please email me. If you want to get involved, please do. All of y'all just got educated on ranked choice voting. So if you want to learn a little bit more and learn how about you can go out and have these conversations, please have a conversation with me. I would love to sit down and have like a trainer to trainee sort of thing. We're doing those across the board as well. I'm meeting with a couple of organizations later on this week to make sure that we have that ready to go. But also, I can't stress enough the individual duty that we all have to make sure that everyone knows about this. Yes, I might be an expert and I'm here as an expert to talk to you about ranked choice voting, but y'all just learned enough for you to be able to at least have a conversation and ask people about what they know about it, and be able to communicate those first two steps that I just talked about. When you get to that poll, rank your first choice. And then go ahead and, if you want to, rank your backup choices. You get up to five. That is all that takes. You just rank your ballot from 1 through 5 based on the candidates that you support. It's really that simple in regards to teaching or talking to other people about it. Now, again, we can get into the details of it all and we can talk about all of that. And that's a deeper conversation. However, we must all be very involved in this fight and making sure that everyone is educated about what is happening with ranked choice voting. So yes, I hope that answered your question. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yes.
Of course.
Um, if you are a member of the public that has a question or comment for Brandon, please raise your hand. We'll go ahead and recognize you. Seeing that no member of the public has raised their hand to comment or speak on this topic, um, this will be a discussion probably to be taken offline, but I think Commissioner Comer has raised a really good point. I would be amenable to perhaps trying to do maybe an in-person town hall with local community groups such as the village, the Foggy Bottom Association, perhaps getting GW student government involved. And
Let's
I
do it.
don't know if somebody from Grow Democracy can make themselves available, but I do think
We
as
will
much
make sure.
education as we're doing, I think
Yeah.
as we get closer to election time, we're going to have a lot of people are going to be like, hey,
Yeah.
so maybe perhaps there's a, availability and capacity perhaps to do an in-person town hall if we can get the organizations to cooperate, collaborate, and figure out a time and date that works. Because I think everybody, whether you're a first-time voter or a seasoned senior voter, I think everybody has questions. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
let's please. I love this. I love this. Please. We are 110% willing to do whatever it is that we can to support, to educate, hell, if you need us to go and bring on somebody from, or if y'all have your own connections with the Board of Elections, let's bring them into it too. So that way everybody feels comfortable and feels like they're getting a well-rounded sort of education about whatever this is and making sure that everybody knows what to do when they get to that ballot booth, you know? So yes, I would love that. I mean, I'm glad that y'all ain't got no questions. That means I did my job, but please, if you do have some questions, do not be afraid. Reach out to me specifically via my email. Reach out to us via rankthedistrict.org/contact. That will go directly to our educate at Grow Democracy DC email, and somebody within 48 hours will be able to get back to you with whatever questions you might have. So yeah, please, I would love to continue working with y'all. It would really be an honor. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brandon, for your presentation.
Sure.
Usually I am a very militant person on time, but this was a very important topic. Thank you so much. And I think we will discuss as an ANC offline on how to do a town hall around this very important topic. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I genuinely appreciate you reaching out and allowing me the space to be here. Again, I'm sorry about the time. I know y'all like to keep it real strict and real structured. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. You have a good day. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, we have a report from Pepco in regards to the Exilian promise. If you are here from Pepco, please raise your hand and we'll go ahead and promote you. If you are here from Pepco. I see no one here from Pepco. We'll see if they want to go ahead and appear before our April meeting. Oh, I think someone from Pepco is here. Hi, you've
Hello,
been promoted.
hello. Yes, this is Trevor Culpepper from Pepco. My apologies. I was trying to come off of the mute button, but just couldn't quite get it there. So my apologies.
You can go ahead and begin whenever you're ready.
Yes, ma'am. Just wanted to come and talk with the ANC as well as the public about the Exelon promise. And this is really is something that is a initiative behind including Pepco, because we do know that bills have increased due to a increase in demand and then a not enough supply. And so part of our promise is to be part of the solution. And so we're looking to have utility owned generation to contain costs. And that does include more community solar and battery storage. And then many of you may know that we did give towards our community relief fund last year dollars to our customers most in need, and we'll continue to do so. But wanting to talk a little bit about that, and happy to come back at a later time to answer any further questions from the public and with the NC. Thank you.
Do you have any questions or comments from colleagues about this topic? Mr. Malik, do you want to make a comment or have a question? You're on mute, by the way.
There is so much that we could talk about here. My question would be, I guess, to start, does Pepco think that a $1,000 per month electricity bill is reasonable? Because that is the bill that a lot of DC residents are facing. I know we're talking about increasing costs. I know we're talking about increasing demand from data centers. I've heard all of these excuses and these reasons for why energy costs are going up. But when we're looking at $1,000, $900, $1,200 for an electricity bill for 1 month, That to me seems like something is fundamentally broken that needs not a long-term fix. It needs a short-term fix, and it needs to not just be applied to the neediest families, although obviously we should prioritize them. It needs to be applied citywide. Like that, those are unreasonable electricity bills that residents are facing right now. So I guess it's more of a comment than a question.
No, and I really want to thank you very much for that comment. And so you're right, we don't agree that $1,000 bill makes sense. And part of the issue that we're having, it is nationwide, not to. And so what's taking place is that, yes, we do have a lot of our large load customers like data centers. Not sure if you're aware that in this particular area, there are over 300, which is the largest concentration of data centers in the world. Most of the world's internet comes in and out of this area. So we are experiencing some of these data centers that you require power as much as a small city. That has really strained the grid. This is a federal, local, and state issue. And so, at the, federal level, obviously looking to have more federal dollars to support some of our upgrades to infrastructure. But then what we know is that there is a need for more supply. And so that's why we're proposing, part of this excellent promise is to look at utility owned generation, and that's more so with community solar and battery storage, because that's able to come on quicker, so that we can, kind of contain costs. But it is just really part of the market that we're in, unfortunately. And so, we are looking for solutions. So that's, what I can tell you about that. But no, we don't think that, that's reasonable, but we are in, unprecedented times. So.
Before I turn to a member of the public, I do have a comment and a question for you as well. Uh, I attach myself to my colleague Commissioner Malik's comments about this. My deep concern is for our senior residents. A large swaths and pockets of ANC 2A have seniors who have worked all their lives, had made good money, and
Hmm.
you know, dealing with the inflation of having to buy groceries. You know, they are on fixed incomes. So like property value on their taxes, their taxes on their property. I mean, I believe they're excluded from that. But you can't be excluded from a power bill. And are you doing anything to address the needs of like senior like customers? I mean, it's already bad enough when you're a young working adult having to pay exorbitant, but what about our seniors who are on fixed incomes? Because this is something that can lead to a senior being displaced from their housing because like the right to have like heat and AC, like anything that electricity is used to generate to keep people safe, we're now forcing our seniors to make some really, really hard, tough choices. And I am speaking as myself, not, on behalf of ANC2A when I say this. I think it's incredibly inhumane to make portions of our population like suffer through no control of their own. And so while I appreciate you coming to talk about your promise, I think the city is ready for action. This is now becoming a political issue. Like
Hmm.
people are bringing this up at the mayor's debate, the delegates debate, the at-large debate. Like, and everyone is saying like, how did Pepco get here? Like, there's already
Right.
a report that says Pepco has the DC residents are paying the highest utility costs in the country. It has risen, I think, 65 or 75% over 2 years. Like, that's ridiculous. You as a company, like, need to understand, like, the level of frustration and outrage and anger around this issue. So that's it. And Commissioner Malik, I see that you have your hand raised. I'll let you go one more time, but I do want to make sure we take public comment. Okay?
I'll
So
be
go ahead.
super quick. So I agree with everything that the chairperson just said. I also pulled up a chart. In 2023, Exelon's net income was $2.32 billion. In 2025, Exelon's net income was $2.76 billion, so almost a $500 million increase from 2023 to 2025. I read that as Exelon is more profitable now than it was 2 years ago, and I wonder why we as residents are paying the price for this, for whatever the reason for this increase in energy demand is, while Exelon continues to make more and more and more and more money. That shouldn't be on our backs, in my opinion.
And if I can say, definitely hear exactly what you're saying. And I know particularly when you were talking about seniors earlier. And so, yes, there are different programs that specifically are for seniors. There is a seniors credit that is available, but you do have to apply. And those programs are administered through DOEE. There's also other, you know, a residential aid discount program for seniors and low income, where you can have a credit to your distribution portion of your bill. And those who are eligible for that program don't see a rate increase. But if you look on your bill, it's divided into two parts. There's the delivery charge, which is what we charge you to bring energy to your home. But when you look at the biggest sticker, the biggest increase on the bill, that is on that supply side of that bill, and that is pretty much it's a pass-through cost that is passed on to customers because we buy electricity on the wholesale market. And that is totally market driven. And if you look on that bill, that's where you're going to see that increase. And that is because, unfortunately, there is the increase in the demand for more energy, but there is just not that supply there. And that is a very real issue. So I just, that is, a real issue. And that's what's taking place at this time. But again, what we're focused on, what we think is a solution is to owning our own generation so that we can contain those costs. And so that's what our focus on right now. We have to be, and so that's what we're focusing on as that solution. But definitely hear what you're saying.
Okay, thank you for your response. There is a member of the public that has their hand raised, so I believe they have a question or comment for you. We're going to go ahead and promote you, and so that way you can make your question or comment.
Hi, this is Will Crane. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Will.
All right, thank you, Chair Patel. I didn't get the name, but I'm just going to address PEPCO as a whole and address the community. I'm a real estate agent. I live in the chair's SMD in the historic district in a house that was built in 1884. We have gone through 5 power outages of a prolonged nature over the last 12 months. I'm also a real estate agent working in the area that had a listing that went live that lost power and then blew out 2 major appliances when the power surged back on. What PEPCO is going to do here is not only offer programs that will help people, they're going to put people into those programs when the power surges in this area cause major appliances to be replaced. I've been seeing it. It is not a little expense to have not only the appliance replaced, but to have a qualified electrician that PEPCO does not cover the cost on come out and assess the safety of the system. So I think that when we're dealing with Exelon, which has, I think what I saw, just like what Commissioner Malik said, is that they have around $2 billion in cash sitting in their accounts. This is a monopoly in DC, and I've heard it on the public forums, and I agree. We have absolutely no choice. All the programs you want to throw at us and all the applications you want us to throw and put all of our personal information to you more, I think is ridiculous. We need reliability. If my bill is high and I had reliable electric service, maybe I wouldn't be so upset in the situation. But unfortunately, I'm dealing with unreliability. We're dealing with upgrades and infrastructure for Georgetown at the expense of Foggy Bottom. But also, I do feel with the higher the bills are just exorbitant. And I think that the solution of having more assets under Pepco control or Exelon control is ridiculous. And I will go more public to say how ridiculous that is. It's like putting the chickens in with the foxes. So I would hope that more time is spent getting our infrastructure up to basically reliable and communicate better with the community. Thank you.
I did not realize I was still on mute. Thank you so much for your comments, Will. We have one more member of the public. You're going to be recognized and promoted. Chris, you just have to take yourself off mute.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, the thing is it's not just seniors that are having trouble affording this. I'm the property manager for a smallish 67 unit condominium building where we're seeing bills like $1,000 a month, $800 a month, $1,200 a month, even in my own unit that I don't even run the heat. I mean, my usage is the same. It was 3 times as much over the past 3 months, and this, uh, our association, like I said, is not a big association, and money really matters to us. So that, I mean, matters to everybody, I guess is what I'm saying. But the thing is that when we get these big hits from Pepco, it really messes up our budget, and every like money that we need to pay for other things is just it's just being wasted on what you're saying is the supply side pass through, while you guys are making these huge profits and Exelon, Pepco, whatever, you know, for no good reason. It's just not fair, and it's unethical, and I think it seems illegal to me, and I think it's got to stop. There's got to be a thing there, and I'm still in the workforce, right? But I'm getting ready to retire. I mean, maybe in about 4 years, but there's money that I'm just dumping into Pepco's pockets that I could be putting towards my retirement or be putting into savings. So just know that I speak for a lot of people who are very, very, very irate about this. And something has got to be done, and it's got to be done soon. Thank you.
Right, right. And yes, sir, and thank you for that. I definitely understand your frustration. Not just saying that you're absolutely right. And it is, you know, an issue. And again, again, if you look at that bill and you look at that pass-through cost, just and it's totally market driven, you're going to see that supply side where that's where you're seeing that big cost. And so there is a need to build more generation within our area. That is a federal, state, and local issue, and definitely understand your frustration. I have put my information in the chat because I do want to hear more um, from you all, and if there's something that we can do with payment arrangements or looking at directing to more programs and seeing what we can do on the account, definitely can look into that. I'm happy to do that. But that is unfortunately the reality that we're in. It's just we have to have that more generation.
For your response. Seeing
And
no
I would
further,
be happy to come back to the ANC I know this is just very brief, like to, dive a little bit more into why we're experiencing this, just to let folks, paint that give more context to it. Happy to do so at the next meeting.
okay. I appreciate that. And I allowed for more time on this topic because this is a topic that is hitting all of the ANC 2A residents very hard, whether you're a
Yes, ma'am.
homeowner or you're a renter.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Um, I do want to say that the states of Virginia and the states of New Jersey have declared a state of emergency around the cost of rising utility costs. And I would not be shocked or surprised to see if 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 DC takes that next measure because uh, this is an issue that has been ongoing and frankly, residents across the district do not feel that anybody's listening to them, not their not the mayor, not the DC council. Unfortunately, our government body, we are an advisory
Yes,
body.
ma'am.
We don't get to craft legislation, uh, but with our great weight, we do try to say to the council, to the mayor, to anyone who listens to us, um, there needs to be some thoughtful addressing of this. Commissioner Comer, I'm going to go ahead and let you speak since we have a little extra time buffer. Go ahead, please.
Well, as you know, I was general counsel for the trade association of the utility industry for more than 20 years. And I would just like to point out that many of the sources of the high prices that you're talking about are not really addressable by the district at all. Certainly not by ANC 2A. I mean, I think the issue of reliability in the ANC is an important issue for us to discuss. But when you get to the issues of what is the price of electricity, um, you may not know it, but electricity is sold in an interstate market regulated by a federal agency called FERC. And prices have gone sky high
Right.
because um, the government, the current government has limited the use of lower cost clean energy, solar and wind, and because we are competing in one way or another for use of electricity with um, all of these data centers and everything else. And ANC2A and the district government is not going to solve that. Also, there is choice in DC. You can choose to go to somebody else to buy your electricity from. Pepco will still deliver it, but you do have choices. They're going to charge the same high prices because it's a nationwide market or a region-wide market at this point in time. So I appreciate that Pepco is offering to try to help mitigate some of these problems. I think our focus in ANC2A should be to make sure that people know about that and to make sure that our service is reliable. That is something that we and the district should control in terms of being able to get power delivered all the time, reliably, 100%. And I just urge our discussions focus on that issue. Thanks.
And Mr. Comer, thank you for that. And as I thank you for going into detail about that. But just as you said, it is that supply charge that's on your bill. And to your point about reliability, you know, when we have our rate increases, that's what you're paying for. So when you see us in the street, you know, working, we just had the Capital Grid project. We're near completion of that project. It was a major upgrade, $1 billion, upgraded two substations, installed a new one with a 10-mile transmission line. You know, that does have a cost. And then we're looking to upgrade other infrastructure in the downtown area soon after that to, you know, make sure that we support the conversion of affordable housing and condos and apartments downtown. So
We are desperate. We have had reliability problems here, and they need to be fixed. And you're right about the downtown area. We're getting more and more proposals for housing and conversion of offices to housing, and it is Pepco's responsibility to make sure we have the capacity to supply all of that without problems. And that's an area we have had problems with, and I appreciate Will bringing that up.
Yes, so I can talk more about that as well, about that project. That's,
Thanks.
thank you.
Seeing no further questions or comments from members of the public, from colleagues, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next agenda item, which is commissioner updates. We'll go ahead and start in numerical order, which means I would be first. Chairman Mendelson was unable to make our meeting tonight. He had a schedule conflict. I confirmed with him today, spoke with him this afternoon. He would like to appear before us at our April meeting. So his team is committed to making sure that we can at least have him present or talk to us in April. And I have confirmed with Councilwoman Christina Henderson's office. She is the independent at large. She will be speaking at our May meeting. And so that is the extent of my updates. And so I'm going to popcorn to my colleague, Commissioner Comer, for 2A4.
Thank you. I have been working, as you know, the last meeting we had a presentation from the office building at 2600 Virginia Avenue in the Watergate complex. They are proposing to convert about half of the building to apartments and condos. And I have been working with them and with the other residential buildings in the Watergate complex to make sure that they had made a presentation the other day to the presidents and managers of the buildings, and they will be making presentations to the residents of each of the residential buildings in the Watergate complex. Hopefully, all of this will save time when their proposal for zoning adjustments comes before the ANC at the next meeting. At this point in time, my sense is that the majority of residents who have thought about this will be in favor, generally in favor of the proposal, under the theory that it is better to have a full residential building, particularly when we need more residential space in the district, than to have a half full and potentially bankrupt office building. So that's been the major issue that we've been dealing with in ANC 2A04. Thanks.
Stoller, you're next.
I think the big thing you're going to hear coming out of 2A06 in the next couple of months, either in meetings here or at large meetings, is a proposal to take down and then rebuild the property at 2100 M Street. After 3 failed attempts to renovate the building, a builder is bought the building and secured an anchor tenant and is looking at rebuilding the building with the idea of that tenant taking occupancy no later than 2031. So there'll be a lot of moving parts in that part of our district over the next couple of years. They will be looking to us from some kind of to move forward through us, whether that's approval or don't get in the way in either the April or more likely May meetings. And because their schedule is to get approval from DC government for some slight variances with air rights starting in June. So that's going to be the big thing on our for us to talk about in the next couple of months.
All right. Hey, everyone. So really only one update. Myself and Commissioner or former Commissioner DeCapo, I'm not actually sure what his status is right now, are currently the only 2 members of the Commission's 2050 Comp Plan Committee. That committee's charter is set to expire in April. So if that is something you want to be a part of, it's important for you to apply now or as soon as possible in the coming days so we can know that there is interest in that. The applications have been open for a number of months. We haven't had really any applicants follow through on coming before the commission to be considered. So I don't know what the status of that committee is. I would assume that if we do not have any further applicants, it will probably wind down after that April deadline. That's a decision for the commission to make, but I encourage you, if you do want to get involved in that, if you have a vision for the future of our neighborhood, please submit your application as soon as you possibly can. Otherwise, like I said, no updates. Continue to contact me with any community issues. I hear from you all the time that you put things in 311 and they do not get answered, or they get answered, but they weren't actually completed. Um, Let me know. I can send those up the food chain and we can sometimes get those knocked out a little bit more efficiently than if you just wait on the 311 app. So always feel free to reach out to me with anything going on, anything you see, sidewalks, bricks out of place. I love dealing with that kind of stuff, so don't hesitate. That's it.
Thank you, colleagues, for your updates. Moving on to the last agenda item. This is announcements and public comments. I do see one person's hand raised. That is a member of the public. We'll go ahead and promote you.
Hi,
Hello,
Commissioner.
Delando. Yeah,
Hi,
you've
Commissioner
been
Patel.
promoted. Hi, how
I'm
are
sorry.
you?
I'm good. How are you? I have a couple other team members on as well. We just wanted to provide a brief update on reliability. Is that okay if everyone joins?
Uh, you know what? Can you give me a couple minutes? I just want to make sure that no one else has an
Sure, no
announcement.
problem.
Okay, so just hang out for a
No
second.
worries. We'll stand by.
Okay, if
Thanks.
you are a member of the public and you have a question or a comment, we'll go ahead and promote you. Okay, seeing that no one else from the public has announced, we did do your section already though, Delando, just like FYI.
Okay, understood.
And we'll go ahead and promote you, but you know, I just want to make sure we stay on time. But
My
you know,
apologies. We'll be very brief.
okay, if your colleagues who want to raise their hands, we'll go ahead and promote them. Okay, we see two more members that raise their hands. I'm assuming they're
Okay.
your colleagues.
And I'll go ahead and dive in really quickly. My name is Delando Baker. I'm with Pepco External Affairs. I'm joined tonight by three of my Pepco team members, Jeff Miller, Ashley Valores, as well as Maurice Baptiste. We're here tonight to share a few updates on how we're continuing our work to strengthen reliability in the Foggy Bottom area. So I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Miller. If you didn't meet me last time, I'm one of the managers for project management here at Pepco. And the last time that we spoke to the ANC here, it was on the tail end of a series of unplanned outages that we had in the Foggy Bottom area. And we wanted to come back and at least provide an update of what we've done since that point. So I'll keep this brief. In late last year, we started to reassess what some of our engineering options were to be able to convert this Foggy Bottom area up to our standard of 13 kV. When we last spoke, our original plan was to start engineering out in 2027. But due to the unplanned outages, we agree that there's a serious need to move that up. So we have started engineering. At this point, we have a couple different options that we believe might be feasible. However, it's a little bit too early to say what the exact option is going to be. We did reassess potentially coming across Rock Creek Parkway, and we think there may be an opportunity there. But if that doesn't work, then our original plan of feeding Foggy Bottom from across the National Mall on the south side is likely going to be the plan that we move forward with. So with that said, engineering should take probably through the fall and early winter. And I think at that point, we'll have a much more clear idea of what the actual option is going to be. But really, the message that I want to make sure that we shared tonight was we heard the concerns, we shared the concerns, and we wanted to at least demonstrate that we have moved our project timeline up to try to fix this problem as soon as we can. With all that said, fortunately, I am unaware of any additional unplanned outages that this area has experienced since the last time we spoke. So that's a positive. That's what we expect out of our system, but we are monitoring this very closely. So my other colleagues on the phone are with the underground department that you heard from last time. All of our contingency planning and the way that we react and respond to any unplanned outages in this area will be consistent with what we communicated. So we will make sure that we have generation out there. We'll make sure that we have crews out there doing any necessary repairs if there are any additional outages. But again, with the current string of reliability, we don't foresee any additional problems, but just wanted to recommunicate that we do have our team looking at this seriously and we are standing by in case anything does happen. So I know we didn't have much time. I'll cut it there. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them though. Thank you.
It's not a question, but it's a comment. So unfortunately, Jeff, there was a power outage, an unplanned power outage. And it
Okay.
hit my SMD. And it was about five hours. Mr. Crane was here earlier, spoke to someone, and this was more along the the about the Exelon promise. And it's very, very frustrating when electricity bills are going through the roof. Colleagues chimed in, members of the public chimed in. It's very, very upsetting when somebody gets slammed with $1,000 electricity bill and they don't even have reliable service. And I'm echoing just because ANC 2A does have a large swath of senior residents spread out all through ANC 2A. How is a senior on a fixed income going to afford $1,000 bill? Like, we are placing very, very vulnerable populations in situations where they're going to lose their housing because not because they didn't know how to watch their pennies. Like, everyone across the district is seeing their electricity bill double, triple, quadruple. Like, it's insane. And you know, it's kind of like people, as somebody has said earlier, to use their language, they feel like they're being held hostage by Pepco because there's no other alternative for them to get power. And on top of them, that like then to sit here and be a homeowner and have your power constantly go out. You're losing food. People like have refrigerators. Like they've lost there's no like compensation for people like losing their groceries. Like people have thrown out hundreds of dollars worth of food. And I just wish Pepco would really understand the amount of ear that they have earned from their consumers. Like this has become an election year issue for mayor. Like people now have mayoral platforms talking about the rising cost of utilities. Like this is not an issue that is like to use this like air quotes a sexy issue. But now it's become like the issue that everyone wants to know what their next elected official representative is going to talk about. And when you guys came at the tail end of last year, I basically said like the level of service that ANC2A in certain pockets has been unacceptable. Like we ANC2A houses the Aston, which is takes care of very vulnerable residents. Like they can't lose power. Like we have to like shift them out from like where they are to another place because they didn't have the ability to have hot water, to have heat, to have AC, all of these things that are required by law for housing. I mean, now I have been able to advocate to get a generator should another power outage happen. But these are the things that residents get really frustrated and angry about. And I'm glad to hear that a lot of, you know, the hell raising I have done at hearings along with residents at these hearings have paid off that you've moved up the timeline. But I think to earn the trust of consumers and community members, like there needs to be some concrete responses from Pepco and like not because the government is telling you to do it, but Pepco as like a community stakeholder to say, okay, you know what, we're going to do XYZ things. And, you're a multi-billion dollar corporation. And like DC is now paying the highest utility rates in the country. It's risen the fastest. There has been an actual study done about what Pepco has done to this region. And I think you as a company need to realize that you have really caused a lot of angst.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you loud and clear. Truthfully, we expect our systems to run reliably. And if they're not, that's a real problem. And in addition to that, we recognize that affordability is a real issue too. So we hear you loud and clear on that.
Okay. I see Trevorius from your team has come back. Trevorius, I saw you raise your hand, so didn't
Yes,
know.
ma'am. And just hearing you talk again about the reliability, just wanted to kind of come back and maybe I could have a little bit more time with you to understand what those issues were and when those, um, you know, outages that you occurred so that we can look at that and take that feedback back to our operations team to look into. So I definitely do want to, follow up with you offline. I have my information in the chat and I can look forward to um, following back up with you so that I can get more information about your experience because that's not the experience that we want you to have.
So, and I appreciate that. Believe it or not, like Pepco was asked these questions in a hearing that was conducted by Councilwoman Pinto. And like ANC colleagues such as myself and other residents did not find the answers satisfactory. We would like responses um, to not only with the questions and concerns that Councilwoman Pinto brought up on our behalf, but us as ANC commissioners in our testimony asked, and no responses were given, as far as I know. I mean, we have not heard from Councilwoman Pinto's team saying that Pepco has given a response, and someone from Councilwoman Pinto's team is here, and I'm sure if Pepco had responded, we would have heard from their team. She would have alerted the community that Pepco has responded. Here's their responses.
Okay. Well, I will look at to that. I will follow up with you about that.
Okay, I would appreciate that, and
Thank you.
and yeah, Delando as well. My line is always open, and I think other members of ANC 2A, I think their lines are also open to making sure that residents, are heard and respected on this issue.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next agenda item. This is unfinished business from the previous meeting. Colleagues had asked that this be tabled. Commissioner Malik had many thoughtful comments, but yet he did not put any of that in my resolution. And so I'm still amenable and open to all those suggestions. Um, so I am going to table this to our next meeting, as this was an issue that I know Commissioner Youngstone cared deeply about. And I do want to make sure that colleagues do put their thoughts in the resolution. I'm open to it. Um, while this was it meant to be part of the performance oversight record, it will just now be a standalone resolution. And colleagues just know that there is a lot more permanent legislation as a result of a lot of the feedback that was given in the performance oversight hearing. So, Commissioner Malik, if you could go ahead and add your comments, suggestions into the document, not now and not tonight, but yeah, I would like to have it for next month's meeting if possible.
I'm sorry, do we have a motion to table right now?
Yes, I said I'm going to table it.
Okay, so we have a motion to table. Has that been seconded? I'll second the motion to table. I think we entered debate on the motion to table, correct?
No, we just table it.
Well, anytime there's a motion, once a motion has been seconded, there's debate on the motion. So we still have to
No,
vote on the motion to table.
no, if an item is table, if we're tabling it, I mean, okay, we can have a discussion. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I think that there always has to be a motion It's essentially a motion to amend the agenda. That has to be a motion to table the agenda item.
Okay.
Are you withdrawing the resolution?
This is a motion to table it.
Okay.
Okay, well, the motion has been made and seconded. Chairperson, do we have debate on the motion to table?
I mean, I stated my reason for tabling it. I did not get your feedback.
Okay, so just a brief comment. So what I said at the last meeting, and what I'll say again here at this meeting, is that when I read this resolution, I don't know what I am looking at. There are multiple parts of this resolution where the text clearly does not refer to ANC 2A, where it talks about the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee is directed to do something, where it talks about the committee shall engage with the Office of Police Complaints. It sounds like what the chairperson is suggesting, that it is our responsibility to look at something like this and correct it and edit it. I mean, this looks like something that was, to me, it looks like something that was copied from one resolution that someone else put forward and pasted into another format. I have no idea if that's what happened here. But this language clearly does not reflect the role of ANC2A, the powers of ANC2A. I just don't even know how to parse this. And I think that it's not really appropriate to suggest that the responsibility to fix this is on us. This should be clean before it ever comes to us. Why do we have a resolution before us that has what are very obviously errors in it? So that's the reason that I did it after that meeting. Go back and proactively among colleagues say, oh, we should fix line X, Y, and Z. That's not my job. I gave you my feedback. I pointed out the specific areas where the language of this resolution did not make sense. It doesn't look like any changes were made to it. It was just put back on the agenda, I think, exactly the way that it was the last time. So I'll yield back and end the debate there, or end my debate there.
So, Commissioner Malik, most commissions work collaboratively on something. It's always been the spirit of ANC2A. So if you ask as colleagues, hey, you want to review my resolutions, I make it a point to try to get it to you as ahead of time. If I have comments and feedback, I make sure to get it to you. I gave it to you 5 days in advance. Everyone had it 5 days in advance. So that's number one. Number two, if you watched the hearing, if you attended the hearing, that was a direct ask by people, and that is actually the role of the judiciary, to talk to Office of Police Complaints because they have purview over it. So, and the motion was made to table it. There were people who were ready to vote on it. And so, once again, I'm asking to table it because all of you said y'all wanted to have feedback on it. I can't in real time to run our meetings more efficiently. I'm asking you guys for your feedback. You're waiting until the meeting to give them. It's very hard. It's not the best use of our meeting time to try to piecemeal a resolution. It's not a good practice. Commissioner Dolan, you're recognized.
I understand there's a motion on the table, but I would ask Commissioner Comer's question again. Are we moving forward with the motion to table, or are you withdrawing the motion?
I'm moving forward to table it.
Okay.
Commissioner Malik, I can't hear anything you're saying because you're on mute.
Thank you. As a point of process, I don't believe that it's possible to withdraw something from the agenda once the agenda has been adopted. There has to be a motion to table, which is what we're in.
I'd like to call the question.
Commissioner Comer, we have to go to members of the public if they have any questions or comment, but I've heard it. If you're a member of the public, do you have any questions or comment about this motion? Raise your hand and you'll be recognized. Okay, seeing no further questions or comments from members of the public, question has been called. Going to go ahead and call the vote by division of the House, starting in numerical order, which is with me, and voting yes to table.
I'm voting no because I want to vote against this motion and get it off our agenda completely.
I'm going to vote no on the motion to table.
No on the motion to table.
Okay, motion has failed. So are we going to go ahead and proceed now with voting on the matter?
Mhm.
Any further questions or comments on it? Well, wait, hold on.
Do we
I
have a
am moving,
second?
I'm moving the matter. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, item has been moved by Chair Patel, seconded by Commissioner Malik. Are there any questions or comments from colleagues on this? So the only comment I will have is, colleagues, while we may not agree on everything, I would have been happy to have this vote conducted in our prior meeting. When your colleague says to table something, it means in a respectful way, you're asking them to continue to work on it. I waited an entire month to hear from all of you, and none of you provided feedback. You did not provide it in the first meeting. You asked to table it. So if the stances had not changed from the first meeting, we could have just gone to a vote. That's all I want to say for the record. Seeing no questions or comments from members of the public on this, we can go ahead and call this matter to a vote, starting by division of the House, starting in numerical order, which I will go ahead and start. So, yes.
I vote no, and I would like to point out for the record that I did send an email to my colleagues recently indicating I would vote against this motion. Thank you.
Did you vote, Ed?
Yes, I voted no.
I'll vote no.
No.
Okay, resolution fails 1-3. Okay, moving on to the next item. It is the DC Department of Transportation. If you are here, please raise your hand and we'll promote you.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Hentrup. I'm a project manager with the District Department of Transportation, and I am going to talk to you all about the M Street Northwest Corridor Safety Project. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Thank you all for your time this evening. I really appreciate it. So I'll just dive right in to save some time here, give you a quick overview of the corridor. I'm sure you all are familiar with M Street Northwest. So my project is going from Thomas Circle to 28th Street Northwest. This serves westbound vehicle and bicycle traffic. This is on DC's high injury network. There's high pedestrian activity. And as you all may know, there is a protected bike lane along this corridor, but there are gaps that exist currently. And also at a lot of the intersections, there are mixing zones between the right turn lanes and the bike lane. So project goals for the M Street Northwest Corridor Safety Project, our main goal is to upgrade that existing bike lane to increase both safety and comfort. We're also focusing on vulnerable road users, so eliminating those conflicts that exist between vehicles and pedestrians and cyclists. We also want to maintain acceptable levels of traffic delay and preserve access for parking and curbside loading. So just an overview of like the key corridor treatments we're going for, and I'll dive a bit more into these in the next slides. We want protected space for people walking, biking, and rolling, enhanced visibility for pedestrians and vehicles to see each other, traffic signal enhancements, minimizing those turning conflicts like I mentioned, and parking and curbside management. So diving a bit more into it, that protected space for people walking, biking, and rolling. Like I mentioned, we're going to fill those gaps in the protected bike lane, eliminate the mixing zones, adding in protected corners, so pedestrians have a little bit more of a safe space through concrete or tactical methods. As shown in the image in the bottom right, this is a draft concept for M Street at 15th Street. You can see where we're proposing a pedestrian refuge, bike lane striping through the intersections, and putting that bike lane to the curb throughout this section. We're also going to enhance visibility, so that includes restricting parking where necessary near the intersections, alleys, and driveways. As you all may be aware, there are many access points throughout M Street where there is limited visibility between vehicles turning and cyclists as well as pedestrians crossing. We're proposing traffic signal enhancements, so that includes a separated bike phase. So that will be separate from the right turn phase to eliminate those conflicts that currently exist in those mixing zones. Where they do not currently exist, we're going to add leading pedestrian intervals, so to give pedestrians a head start before the light turns green for vehicles, adding in accessible pedestrian signals and retroreflective backplates, which you can see in the images below. We're
Can
also
you
going to,
show, excuse me, what is a reflective backplate? Can you point that out?
sure, that's this image right here. It's this yellow border. It's better for visibility for drivers at night, for their headlights to reflect off of it. Does that answer your question?
And what do you mean by separated bike phase, right turn phase?
Sure. So the bike phase will go whenever the vehicles are going westbound through on M Street, and then they will get a red light, and then the vehicles turning right will get their go ahead to make their right turns separately. So the bikes and right turns will not have to merge at all. Did that answer your question?
Will there be separate signals for each?
Yes, we'll add a separate bike signal.
I'll have a comment on it later, but it answers my question. Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Comer, point of order, I just want her to finish her presentation. I know there's a lot of questions, but like for the sake of time, I want to try to keep us on time. I will make sure that you get to ask your questions. Nicole, please continue. Thank you though for being gracious.
Of course. I'm expecting lots of questions and happy to answer them. So then we're also proposing to minimize turn conflicts. This includes left and right turn traffic calming, adding the no turn on red signage at the intersections, and eliminating dual turn lanes where they exist. We have a high number of sideswipe crashes along this corridor, and removing those dual turn lanes will definitely help with that issue. As you can see, we have 22nd Street in the images where there currently exist two right turn lanes. We were proposing to eliminate one of those right turn lanes. And we have done the preliminary traffic analysis, and this would be an acceptable condition and should not have nearly any impact to traffic conditions compared to like what's existing out there today. It shouldn't be a large difference. Parking and curbside management. We're proposing to convert peak hour restricted parking to full-time parking. As you all may be aware, there are sections along M Street where it is peak period restricted. We're hoping that by adding in the full-time parking, people will find this a lot more useful, especially because just during those peak hours, it's, you can't park there. It's just very difficult to get to where you need to be. And we're also going to improve the hotel pickup and drop-off zones. As you can see in the bottom left, we have a separate space where we're providing specifically loading zone areas, a concrete median between the bike lane, and then the bike lane will be raised as well. So our next steps, we have the open comment period that's now open for you all to submit comments, questions. That will close on April 21st. And we're obviously going to use those comments to refine our concept. So we've completed our safety analysis. We're in the concept planning, community engagement phase. We plan over the next year to do design. You'll hear from us again for the notices of intent, and we're targeting for a summer 2027 construction date. And then here is a QR code to our website. This will have the concept plans on there. So yeah, I left detailed description, and I can definitely provide this presentation. and I'll follow up with the materials as well. You can add your comments directly to our concept, or also you can email me any questions you have. So yeah, sorry I spoke fast. Just want to make sure I can get to questions, and whatever you all need to ask me, I'd love to answer.
Thank you, Nicole. Caught me as I was trying to finish a bite of my food. Yeah, I was like, oh, she's presenting. I can actually eat something very quickly.
Yeah, you all don't get much time to eat.
Yes, and I'm a diabetic, so my blood sugar was crashing, so I had to eat something. So I'm going to recognize you in order, Commissioner Dolan, then Commissioner Malik, and then Commissioner Comer. If you have comments, I will go ahead and recognize you after that.
So
Okay,
this is my
Commissioner Dolan?
backyard. Sorry, this is my backyard. I really appreciate what you're doing here. Couple suggestions. While you're doing this, encouraging two-wheeled vehicles to get off the sidewalk. I don't know how you do it, but some kind of mechanism to steer them to these lovely bike lanes that you're creating. Two, make sure the bike lanes participants know that it's one direction, because there's a lot of DoorDash stuff that seems to think it's a two-way street. And then three, signage, particularly people who are getting off, out-of-towners who are stopping at the Hilton, places like that, and you have this nice little designated parking area with a bike lane in between it. They're not aware that there's a bike lane there. So whether that's gating or raised lanes or things like that, anything to do to alert these people who are parking in hotel areas, which I think are a great idea, that there are bikes whipping by, would save some injuries. Thank you for this work.
Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it.
I believe I'm next. Thank you. Just a super quick question. So the conversion to full-time parking, that's paid parking or residential or?
I believe this would all be paid parking. I don't want to speak on it if I'm not sure, but I believe it would stay the same as the full-time parking as it currently exists on M Street. And I'm sure you all are way more familiar with it than I am. But we try to create a consistent parking situation. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Comer, you recognize?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm a biker as well as a driver. I appreciate the bike lanes. I use the M Street bike lane a lot. The reason I was asking you the questions, I have found in other areas, particularly on Virginia Avenue and 20th Street, where there are separate lights for bikes as opposed to cars, that it's very confusing, particularly at night. It's hard to distinguish the lights from one to the other. And I think DDOT and we all need to do a little better thinking about how to educate people about what these things are. And that was why I was asking you what the other things are. The more I like what you're doing, M Street is complicated, but you know, each individual block has its own unique problems. And I'm concerned that separate lights for bikes, they make a lot of sense, but they don't seem to work very well for some reason, because I think people have a hard time knowing what they are and following them. But I would be pleased to participate. I've written down your website and put it in the minutes for other people who want to participate as well. And thank you for coming to tell us about this.
Thank you so much. And I'd really appreciate if you all could just spread it as much as you can. Like I said, I'll send you all the materials so you all have it to distribute. Really appreciate the time tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before you part ways, Nicole, let me make sure that no member of the public has any comment. If you remember the public and you have a question or comment about Nicole's presentation, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing no questions or comments from members of the public. Nicole, thank you so much for your presentation. I think the commission has an appetite to take a look at this. As Nicole has stated, the comment period on this closes next month. If there is anyone on the commission that wants to take a lead on writing a resolution to provide constructive feedback, comments for this project, I'm sure Nicole would be amenable to receiving that and incorporating it into the plan. That is up to you as colleagues. None of this is in my SMD, but it does take place in ANC 2A. So just want to put that out there. But once again, thank you so much again, Nicole, for presenting tonight. And we will, I'm sure we will look forward to getting the materials presented to us tonight, so members of the public can also chime in and know where they can also make their comments at.
Great. Thank you again for the time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, moving along, on to our next agenda item. This is matters before APCA. This is a new license. And this is for Elizabetha Lastrega. It's getting dark and I can't really read. So if you are here, please raise your hand and we will promote you to panelist. And this is in Commissioner Malik's SMD. Matt Minori, you've been promoted. You just need to take yourself off mute.
Thanks so much, Commissioners. My name is Matt Minora from the law firm of Malley O'Brien and Sandground, and we're ABC licensed counsel for Elizabetta DC LLC, trading as Elizabetta Lastrega. This is an application for a new retailer's Class C ABC license at 2401 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. This is the former Marcel's location. We're requesting a seating capacity of 170 seats inside, with a total occupancy load of 199. That's seating and standing room. With a sidewalk cafe endorsement for 45 seats outside, as well as an alcohol carryout delivery endorsement and holiday extension of hours and endorsements. The hours we're seeking for interior service and consumption of alcohol, as well as operations, and the alcohol carryout and delivery endorsement are 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. daily, and the outside sidewalk cafe hours we're seeking are 10 a.m. to midnight daily. These hours are pretty much exactly what Marcel has, so we thought they were a great jumping off point to sort of keep in character with the neighborhood. Elizabetta Lastrega is going to be an Italian restaurant focusing on Italian fare with a seasonal changing menu and cocktails. And this will be the second establishment from Ellie Benchenmal, who currently operates Apero in Georgetown. And if there's any questions from commissioners or the members of the public, we'd be happy to address them. I'm not sure if Ellie is on right now. The agenda had us much later on, so I'm not sure if she was able to jump ahead. I did try to give her the heads up, but I'm not sure if she's able to make it. I can't tell if she's on right now. But if she is, I'd ask that she be promoted as well.
I have not seen anyone raise their hand
Okay.
to hop on as a panelist, but if they hop on while we're still on the topic, we'll most definitely promote them. Commissioner Malik, I'm recognizing you.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt, for being here. We appreciate your time tonight. I don't really have any comments or objections to this application. I think it's going to be great to have this space filled. Everyone that I've talked to in my SMD has been very excited about this and excited to welcome this establishment to our community. So with that, I'll, happy to yield time to my colleagues if they have questions or comments. I feel like there probably are a couple, so I'll yield back.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dolan, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, very happy to see this place being occupied. My only concern is with the 1 o'clock closing. I understand that that's kind of everybody asks for the world when you go through this process. If there was any way to promise us that you'd be closing earlier, particularly alcohol takeout, like say midnight or 11:30 in the first year, that would probably make it easier to digest. But I expect if you've done Apero, I expect great things from this place.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner. We appreciate the feedback.
Do you have any questions or comments from members of the public? Seeing no questions or comments from members of the public, my only comment and feedback is I have no issue with it if it's the same hours as Marcel's. That had they were a good community stakeholder. I've seen no reason to not honor what Marcel's had for the new establishment. That's just my comment for it. Commissioner Malik, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, following up on Commissioner Dolan's question. So the hours for alcohol takeout would also be under the current application, 1 a.m. Is that also what Marcel's had specifically for alcohol takeout? And would there be any room for negotiation on that? That seems like a very late time for alcohol takeout.
Sure. So I believe that those hours are the same for excuse me, for Marcel's. I'd have to go back and confirm the alcohol and carrot. I know for a fact the other ones are. I just haven't seen a recent copy of their ABC license, and the renewal applications don't show the alcohol and carryout endorsement hours, but I'm happy to just follow up and ensure that they're the same. We just selected those hours just really for uniformity. I can certainly talk to Ellie to see if there's some flexibility there, because I do understand, we understand that there's some sensitivities given the location near a college campus and things of that nature. We do think, though, that the price point and the fact that any alcohol has to come with a prepared food item would help, solve some of those problems just inherently. But we're happy to, discuss in further detail offline if there's serious concerns about that. I just have to confirm with Ellie first.
Thanks for that. I'll defer back to Commissioner Dolan if that's something that he feels strongly enough about that he wants to chime back in on this. Like I said, I'm comfortable with this. Your point on the price point is well taken, although I haven't seen the menu yet, so I don't know exactly what that price point is. I've heard that it's higher end Italian fare, which is great. I would be comfortable moving forward with this, but
yeah, if I could just say one more thing, I would say that if someone was looking to purchase alcohol later in the evening, it's much less expensive to just go to a liquor store that's open till 2 a.m. than to come to Elizabeth La Strega and order spaghetti and a bottle of wine for takeaway.
Commissioner Dolan, I recognize you.
Given that perspective, I will withdraw my comments from before.
Okay. Chairperson, I'd like to motion that the ANC submit a letter of support for this application.
Chair Patel seconds. Any further questions or comments from colleagues on the matter? Seeing none. Any further questions or comments from members of the public on the matter? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote by division of the House, starting in numerical vote order. Chairperson Patel is a yes.
Commissioner Comer is a yes.
John Dolan is a yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Minora, it would have been nice to have the proprietor here, but given the fact of the acceleration of the schedule, we understand that they couldn't be here, but I think you addressed any questions, concerns to the satisfaction of ANC colleagues. So we'll work with our executive director to get the letter of support that you need.
Thank you so much, commissioners. We really appreciate the support.
Okay. And moving on, this is the last item on the agenda, and this is under Commissioner Malik.
Right. Thank you very much. Executive Director, if you could pull the resolution up on the screen, I would appreciate that. I am not going to go through this resolution line by line. We have 9 attendees that are not commissioners on the call right now. Everyone has had a chance to read this at this point, but I have a little bit of a statement that I want to give on this for the record, because I know there will be some people who review the recording of this later, and I just want to give an overview of what this proposal is. So Article 13 of our bylaws allows for the creation of a standard operating procedures document. This provision was added during the most recent bylaws rewrite in 2024, with the goal being to give the commission a way to adopt rules related to internal policy and procedures. That means things like how we construct our agenda and how we run our meetings. My proposal that I brought forward tonight would formally create that document, which does not currently exist yet. And it would codify a series of what I think are common sense, good governance best practices that are aimed at improving transparency and promoting community engagement. Like I said, by now everyone has had a chance to read this document, so I won't go through line by line, but I do want to overview the main rules that would be established if we pass this. So there are 4 of them. First, it would mean that resolutions must be submitted to the commission at least 7 days prior to the meeting at which they'll be considered in order to be added to the draft agenda. Number 2, it would mean that the text of resolutions must be linked to from the draft agenda itself. So you would be able to click on it and read the text of the resolution. 3, it would state that the final draft agenda must be submitted to the public no later than 24 hours prior to the meeting. For clarification, we're legally required to issue our draft agenda at least 7 days ahead of the meeting. We then also traditionally have issued another final draft agenda sometime before the meeting, typically a couple of hours before the meeting. The last major rule that it would implement: no changes to the text of resolutions within the final 24 hours prior to the meeting. At that point, any revisions would need to be made in the form of amendments. What this does is it ensures that the commission actually votes on what was presented to the public or goes through a public deliberation to amend the text. So, as it stands, most of our resolutions are not made available for public review and comment until the final draft agenda is published, which, as I just said, is usually an hour or 2 hours before the meeting. Tonight, it was 31 minutes before the meeting. This prevents meaningful community engagement between constituents and their neighbors, and it prevents meaningful engagement between constituents and ourselves. When you get an agenda with 5 resolutions, 6 resolutions, as many as 13 resolutions on it, an hour or 2 hours before the meeting, you don't have an opportunity to talk with people in your community about if that should be supported or opposed. And you don't have an opportunity to come back to us and express your views on it. Most people won't even know that it happened. Okay, so I think these are common sense proposals. Now, it is true that sometimes there's emergency business that comes up on short notice or other good reasons why a resolution needs to be submitted after that 7-day deadline. I want to be really clear about this point because there's been some confusion about it. This rule does not prevent the commission from considering those resolutions. They can still be added by a vote to amend the agenda. I think that that's a smart approach because what it does is it subjects those last-minute resolutions, which should be the exception rather than the rule, to the consent of the commission. It means that if you want to bring something forward that you haven't given the public or your colleagues sufficient time to review, you have to ask your colleagues for consent to do that. I think that's very reasonable. So with that said, I'm happy to yield back and answer as many questions about this as there are from my colleagues.
Commissioner Malik, are you moving this matter?
I will move for adoption of this resolution.
Is there a second for the record?
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved by Commissioner Malik and it is seconded by Commissioner Dolan. I have some comments. I have some questions. Was this reviewed by the Office of Attorney General or the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commissions?
The exact text of this proposal was not reviewed by either of those entities, but General Counsel for OANC has confirmed that we do have the ability to create the standard operating procedures document and that the contours of what I've outlined here are permissible under district law. And I would amend that answer by also noting that General Counsel for ANC actually did point out to me that other commissions have much more extensive standard operating procedures documents than we have. What I've presented here is a few rules. Hopefully this gets expanded over time. I reviewed ANC 2B's standard operating procedures document, and it is very long and very thorough.
Okay, I'm going to make it clear, I'm not against the standard operations procedure. But if this is going to be done, I think it needs to be done thoughtfully and not, just a handful of comments. And there has been feedback on this. Just before this meeting, former ANC Commissioner Joel Causey outlined several red flags around this. Actually, when you promoted this resolution a year ago, you acknowledged that your SOP was in direct conflict with the DC code, which it still is in direct conflict with the DC code. You also, through your SOP, are restricting core legislative rights of an ANC commissioner. You also, through your SOP, weaken the ANC's great weight. You also undermine parliamentary rules with the way this SOP is written. And the 24-hour rule is not in compliance with DC law. So those are my comments. Based on all of that, I will not be supporting the SOP. Commissioner Comer.
May I be recognized to respond to those comments?
Commissioner Comer has had his hand up.
I'll let
You'll yield. Okay, go ahead. Commissioner Malik.
Okay. So I jotted down a couple of bullet points. I may need you to repeat some of them. So with regard to this needing to be done thoughtfully, I have been working on this proposal and refining it over the course of 4 years. It is one of the first things that I proposed as an ANC commissioner. Then Chair Causey opposed it then. I am unsurprised to hear that former Commissioner Causey opposes it now. He is not a member of this commission, and his opinion doesn't weigh into this. I do not recall acknowledging that any part of this is in direct conflict with the code. If you have the specific details of that, I would be willing to listen to those. I am confident that this is not in conflict with the code. And again, I have spoken to OANC about this. With regard to restricting core legislative rights, first of all, we don't legislate. But second of all, this proposal does not do that. This proposal deals with essentially one thing: the construction of the draft agenda. That's all. This rule is about whether or not a resolution can be placed on the draft agenda, not whether or not a resolution can be heard. Okay. If a commissioner shows up at the meeting and wants to move to amend the agenda to hear a resolution that they wrote 10 minutes before, they have that right. They retain that right. And in the text of this proposal, it explicitly acknowledges, although this is implicit in the cascade of law that we follow, that this does not interfere with any rights afforded commissioners under DC law, under the bylaws, under Robert's rules. It is exclusively about the draft agenda. Why does this proposal focus on the draft agenda? Let's pull the camera back on that. Why is it a 7-day deadline? As I said, it's because we are legally required to publish our draft agenda 7 days before the meeting. If resolutions are not submitted 7 days before the meeting, they cannot be on that draft agenda. They cannot be linked. We don't have them, which means the public doesn't see them until hours, minutes before the meeting, ever. That is not conducive to informed public engagement. It is not an example of good governance best practices, and there is nothing in DC code that prohibits us from adopting a rule that is stricter than the rule set by DC law. We can't limit DC law, but we can make a stricter rule. You mentioned that the 24-hour rule somehow infringes on commissioners' rights. I would invite you to explain how that is. Commissioners can still move to amend the text of any resolution that they would like. The question is not, do they have the right to try to change the text of a resolution. The question is, can they change that resolution up to any point in time before the meeting, even after the resolution has already been distributed to the public? There's no need for that to happen. So I think I answered most of your questions there. If there are more, I'm happy to address them as well.
Well, before I say anything, Commissioner Comer yielded so he could
Thank you.
respond.
And I notice that time is running out. I just want to say I'm very ambivalent about the standard operating procedures because I'm not happy with the process that we use now. I don't think it provides enough notice to people. I think sometimes you need flexibility, but I worry that the kinds of standard operating procedures we're talking about will deny us too much flexibility. I am, however, willing to give it a try, and we'll see how it works. I believe, though, that we are expecting by our next meeting, we may have an additional member of our commission, Rob Gifford, and I think that it would only be appropriate for us to delay deciding this for another month to both give him a chance to weigh in and let's submit the proposal to LANC and Office of Attorney General and see what they say in the meantime. We've waited this long, and we finally may have a meeting that ends within 2.5 hours if we can do that. So I would like to, when the time is appropriate, move to a motion to delay this for another month.
Chair Patel seconds.
Table this for another month.
So we'll have to go through the first motion first, unless Commissioner Malik wants to withdraw his first motion.
No, I think when there's a motion to table, we have to deal with the embedded motion first.
So the table, so the
I
one
think,
to
I think
table.
we have to deal with the motion to
The
table
table goes
first.
first, but I need a second.
I seconded it.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I thought you heard me say that
Yeah,
Chair Patel seconded.
Okay.
Okay, so I believe we're in debate on the motion to table. And my question about this, while I respect Commissioner Comer's concerns here, what are the concerns about the legality of what has been proposed?
Well, I think my biggest reason to table is to give potential Mr. Gifford a chance to participate. Two, Chair Patel has raised concerns, and let's resolve them. Let's see if they're there or not. And we waited this long, we could wait another meeting.
And also, point of information, Commissioner Youngstone is also not here. And I think this, I think certain topics are important enough that we should have all colleagues present. So if
Fair point.
until Board of Elections notifies me that Mr. Gifford is elected, I have to wait.
Mhm.
So, like, number one, but if he's accepted by Board of Elections recognized, he will be a sitting commissioner by April. Commissioner Youngstone will be sitting in April. And I mean, and the standard, I reviewed every SOP by every single ANC commission that has been submitted. Their SOPs are done through a lot of work and engagement. If we're going to have an SOP, I don't want it to be an item that is piecemealed over time. I think it needs to be a concrete item that people can point to and say, what happens in this scenario? Where did this go? The two best SOPs, one of which is an ANC 2B, The other one is ANC 1A. And I actually know the commissioner that drafted ANC 1A's SOP. It has actually been the model that ANC 1B used for their SOP. I have read all of the SOPs, and all of them are very consistent in their language and do not have any of the concerns that I have raised. All of the SOPs have undergone legal review and were cleared. There is direct conflicts with this SOP. I've pointed them out. If colleagues want to still move ahead, I have stated it. Commissioner Malik and then Commissioner Dolan.
So first of all, I fundamentally disagree with the argument that this should not be a piecemeal approach. I think that the way that SOP is constructed in our bylaws and our ability to add or remove things from it as we see fit is the core functionality of the document. It's the reason we don't just write things into the bylaws. If we set out a goal that we're going to draft an entire standard operating procedures document that will be conclusive from start to finish about every potential scenario that needs to be covered, we will never get that done. That is much too big of a project, and there's no reason to make it that big of a project. The way this is structured in our bylaws, we can add or remove things at will. I think that flexibility is valuable to us. It allows us to address operational and logistical challenges as they come up without them becoming a humongous burden on the commission or something that takes months to resolve. Two, I would just note, General Counsel for OANC is absolutely aware of this proposal and did not suggest that it should be subjected to legal review. When it was explained to her, she had zero concerns about the legality of this proposal. It is, I think, very clear based on the reading of the law that what is being suggested here is permissible. So I would urge that we continue with this. I think it's important that we do what's right for the public. And one of the questions that I always come back to in these debates is why are we resisting doing what is objectively right for our constituents? This doesn't reduce our flexibility. We have all of the same rights as commissioners. We have the same rights to introduce emergency resolutions. We have the same rights to amend resolutions. None of our rights change. The only thing that changes is whether or not we get carte blanche to put a resolution on the draft agenda, not show it to the public until hours or minutes before the meeting, and then have it be considered and voted on. I don't think that should be the norm. And I don't believe that our constituents think that should be the norm. If there's exceptions, yeah, you still have the right. You can come to the meeting. You can email us the day before the meeting as colleagues and say, hey, I have a last minute resolution. Here's why I would like to have it added. I'm going to motion that we amend the agenda tomorrow. I hope you'll support that. I think 99% of the time, your colleagues are going to say, yeah, absolutely. I understand why you brought that forward. Let's consider it. But again, as I said earlier, we're subjecting those exceptions to the consent of the commission. We're not saying that those exceptions are going to be the rule and you are going to be able to bring forward any document you want and never have to subject it to public review, to meaningful public review. Because let's be clear, we follow the letter of the law. When we put out a final draft agenda 30 minutes before the meeting and it's got 12 resolutions on it that weren't released to the public until 30 minutes before, technically that's following the letter of the law. But functionally, no one had a chance to review that. No one had a chance to read those resolutions. No one had a chance to engage on them. So who are we protecting by protecting that way of doing things? We're protecting ourselves, and our responsibility is to protect our constituents.
I'm going to withdraw my motion to table.
Commissioner
Dolan? Discussing the motion, I sense that if it were not tabled, there seems to be negative sentiment for at least two members, and I would have one consider whether submitting it to an immediate vote with that sentiment is the best thing to advance this issue. I think that adding the other commissioners and getting a run past legal eyes, as Commissioner Comer had suggested, will both help. I echo what Commissioner Malik was saying in that I like the idea of starting with a small framework and building it over time rather than trying to build the entire thing day one. So if Mr. Commissioner Comer has withdrawn his motion to table, I will introduce a motion to table.
I was going to vote for it. Okay. Leave it.
You were going to vote for what?
I'm going to vote for Commissioner Malik's motion.
Then I will withdraw my motion to table.
Now let's just get this done with and see how see how it works.
Okay, so Commissioner Lund, you've withdrawn your motion, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, if there are any members of the public who have any questions or comments about this, please raise your hand and we'll recognize you. Okay, we have a member of the public who's raised their hand. We'll go ahead and promote you.
Hi, all. It's Will Crane. Thank you for recognizing me, Chair. I think that this has been an ongoing issue that stems from some frustration about the large number of resolutions that occasionally come through. And I think that addressing that is an appropriate way of doing this. I think that having been a constituent that has asked my commissioner to present numerous resolutions over the last 3 years, and I don't know if they would be classified as emergency or what they would be, but it's something that I've asked for. I have also come to the meetings, lobbied individual commissioners on certain issues, because many of the issues that all of y'all deal with are very location specific to your individual constituents and may not be perceived as an issue for any other commissioner because it's such a small scale. The PEPCO thing only affects, I think, 4 houses in Commissioner Comer's district, a much larger number in Commissioner Patel's district. But for those of us that are dealing with these multiple power outages, loss of large scale appliances that run 240 volts and are thousands of dollars to replace, lost data, computer shutdowns, network outages. I appreciate that there is an emergency caveat to this, but my fear is that from past, it seems that the friction in this commission, that I worry as a constituent that those backroom politics would then affect timing on these things. Because then what constitutes an emergency? It would have to be an agreement of the commissioners that this is in fact a emergency. So my express take is that if I was a commissioner and I didn't like a resolution, I'd vote no. If I didn't have time to read it and I didn't feel like I couldn't comment, I would abstain. That is my personal take. I think that taking the time to have proper input is the prudent thing to do. I understand that this has been a long-going issue and people probably want to get it off the table, but I appreciate being heard. I really just do hope that this does not affect constituents that need services that really does. And the resolutions for me have helped when I've approached the city council to be able to show that paper especially when I ask for unanimous votes from y'all. I really appreciate it. And it really has helped bring my block back up to just below substandard in terms of city services. I mean, we're still not getting street sweeping or whatever it is, but it has been appreciated in the past when those things have come up. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments, Will. Are there any further questions or comments from members of the public? Please raise your hand. Seeing no further questions or comments from members of the public. Seeing no further questions or comments from colleagues, we'll go ahead and call this to Commissioner Malik.
If I have the opportunity to respond to Will's question very briefly, I would like to do so. So those are very thoughtful comments, Will. Thank you for sharing them. I want to be really clear about the language that we're using. There's not a limited emergency carve-out. Commissioners retain full rights to add any resolution they want to the agenda for any reason. The only question is whether or not it has the consent of their colleagues. So what this fundamentally boils down to is the following question. When a last-minute resolution gets brought forward, let's say on the day of the meeting, who determines whether or not that resolution should be added to the draft agenda? Right now, that's the chair's discretion. I'm arguing that it should be the commission's discretion as a whole. And that's not in any way to say anything about our current chair. I've been arguing this across 3 different chairs now, myself included. I think that these last-minute decisions should be subject to the consent of the full commission. But it is not specifically limited to emergencies. It could be any resolution for any reason. I mean, there's good cause reasons to write a resolution at the last minute that aren't emergencies. Sometimes business comes up that you didn't know about within the 7-day window that needs to get dealt with before a comment period. I do not see any scenario in which colleagues are going to vote that down and say, we're not going to add that to the agenda. They're definitely going to.
Any further questions or comments on this matter? All right. Seeing no further questions or comments on this, we'll go ahead. I believe Will Crane has asked to come back. Will, we'll go ahead and promote you.
Call the question.
Thank you for letting me just reply, and I appreciate your comments, and I think that they're well thought out. I just think from my own personal perspective of having had resolutions of which I have lobbied individual commissioners before, I am concerned that interpersonal politics and things like that may come back to haunt constituents, in which we are left with the card of having to approach, when we have a full commission, 7 folks? Instead of going to 1, I might have to go lobby to 7 to make my case that it is in fact legitimate, even if it is a small geographic issue. So I think that that's where I'm coming from. But I appreciate your thoughtful response.
Thank you, Will. Okay, seeing no further questions or comments. Gonna go ahead and move the question. Gonna go do this vote by division of the House, starting in numerical order. Chair Patel is a no.
Commissioner Comer is a yes.
Commissioner Dolan is a yes.
Malik is yes.
Motion passes 3-1. Seeing that there is no further business on the agenda, the time is now 9:48 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned. The next meeting will be Wednesday, April 15th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
Right.
you.